Good morning students, welcome to Alchemy online classes. Today we are going to learn lesson number 6. The name of the lesson is Expert Detectives. In this story we are going to see about two kids. That means two kids. One is Nishad and the other is Maya. Nishad is also called it as 7. 7, that means what? It is the musical note. Clear? So that's why Nishad is called it as 7. As Maya, her sister, she is 10 years old. Clear? In this story, both are curious to know about Mr. Nath. That why Mr. Nath is alone, why he is not talking to anyone, why the neighbors are scared of Mr. Nath, and why he is not coming out from his room. All the time he stays alone. They are very curious to know all about Mr. Nath. So in short, these two kids are playing the role of expert detectives, written by Sharda Trivedi. In this story, we are going to see that how these kids have solved out that Mr. Nath is crook or a kind person. Let us see in detail. Expert detectives. As you can see in the picture that Nishad and Maya, they are constantly talking about Mr. Nath. Now let us see what happens in this lesson. As we walked back towards the clinic, 7 said, "He doesn't look like a monster, Maya. But did you see how thin he is? Maybe he's very poor and can't afford to eat." Here Nishad is telling that when they were moving out from the clinic, here the clinic is of mother, as we have seen that his mother is working in the clinic. She is a doctor and Mr. Nath is patient of her mother. They saw Mr. Nath. At that time, Nishad is telling that he's not looking like a monster, but he is very thin. It seems he is very poor and can't afford to eat. That means he might not had his food from last many days. He can't be poor if he's a crook on the run. I told him he's probably got millions of rupees snatched away somewhere in that room. Here, Maya is telling that no, I don't think so. He's poor. He's a crook. He might be having millions of rupees in his room, and he is not poor. Do you really think he's criminal, Maya? Question mark. This is asked by Nishad. He doesn't look like one. Nishad looked doubtfully, and Nishad is saying, "Do you really think he's a crook or a criminal?" Of course, he's one. 7. I said, and he certainly is not starving. Mr. Mehta told us that Ramesh brings his meal up from the restaurant downstairs. Here, Mr. Mehta is another character in the story. Mr. Mehta, he told us that Ramesh used to bring. Here, Ramesh is a person who is working in a restaurant. He used to bring lunch regularly to. Mr. Nath from restaurant. Okay. Then after what happened? But Maya, she was telling that Mr. Nath told us he doesn't work anywhere. So how he possibly have money to pay for food? Nishad said. Now we came to know. They came to know that Mr. Nath was not working anywhere. Probably how he has money to pay food for his food, as well as he used to pay good tips to Ramesh. Exactly, I exclaimed. He must have lots of money hidden somewhere. Here Maya is saying that exactly I want to say that Mr. Nath, he might be having probably a trunk in his room which is filled with silver, gold and many jewels. So here Nishad interrupted. What rubbish you are saying? I know I am right. Here Maya is saying I know I am right. But Nishad is saying, no, you are stupid. By the way, 7, did you see his scars? I couldn't. It was too dark. But but I bet he got them during a shot out with the police or something. Here again they started discussing that he might be Maya is asking to Nishad that have you seen Mr. Nath's cars? So Nishad answered. Nishad replied that no, I have not seen, it was too dark. So here Maya is saying I am sure during a shot out with the police or someone he got those scars on his face. Mummy told us quite clearly that they were burn scars, Nishad said firmly. Here Nishad said, as we have seen in the beginning, that Mr. Nath was her mother's patient. So here he told that already Mama informed us that it was burn scars and not because of police shot out. Clear? Now, perhaps the police had to set out. Here again, they are discussing about Mr. Nath that they has to call up the police and they have to hand over Mr. Nath because he is a criminal. Seven looked unsure. On Monday following Mama's birthday, here on Monday it was Mama's birthday, so Seven went all alone to her clinic at Gurgaon. As I was spending the evening with school friends, here I refers to Maya. Clear? She was spending the time with her school friends. When they returned, Nishad told he haven't been to see Mr. Nath. Here Nishad is telling that I have seen Mr. Nath and I feel most annoyed that I hadn't been there. Now she's saying that I am feeling really very bad that I was not there with you to see Mr. Nath. Seven had been quite upset about Mr. Nath's gaunt appearance here. After seeing Mr. Nath, Seven was really very disappointed because he was after seeing Mr. Nath, he was very disappointed because his appearance was gone. That means he was looking very thin. It seems as he was starving from hunger. And he constantly knocked the door, shouted loudly. Then Mr. Nath opened the door in the evening and said, what happened? One lost another marble. Most probably when kids are playing, what happens? The marble rolled down to others' house. So here when Mr. Nath opened the door, he asked this question, lost another marble? He had obviously recognized my brother. Here they are talking about Mr. Nath that yes, he had obviously recognized my brother means 7. Okay. No, said Nishad. He had taken the man's hand in his own, thrusted a bar of chocolate into it. Nishad has took his hand in his hand and offered a bar of chocolate to Mr. Nath because he was feeling very bad because he was looking very thin. It seems he was starving from last many days. Who? Yes, Mr. Nath. Okay. Nishad offered a bar of chocolate to Mr. Nath. Did you get a chance to peek into the trunk? 7. Maya asked, have you seen, gone through the trunk which is kept in his room? Who asked this sentence? Maya. So here Nishad got very disappointed. He didn't even ask me, he said. Then he smiled, but I didn't find out something, Maya. I went downstairs to restaurant where Ramesh worked and talked to him. Here what happened, after discussing all this, they went to the restaurant where Ramesh works. Clear? Now let us see what Ramesh is giving information to them. Good for you, Mr. Detective, I said, patted him on the back. Hope you questioned him probably. Now who said this line? Nishad said this line to Maya. Now she is telling, 7, look please. Ramesh told me that he takes 2 meals for Mr. Nath every morning and evening and 2 cups of tea. One is in the morning and one is in afternoon. Ramesh says he is not very particular about what he eats. It's always the same food, 2 chapatis, some dal and vegetable. Mr. Nath pays cash and tips well. Now here they came to know about Mr. Nath that what kind of meal he is having. Regularly he is having 2 meals and 2 teas. And whatever he is not ordering the particular thing, he is constantly ordering the same thing which he eats regularly, 2 chapatis, some dal and vegetable. Clear? And he used to pay cash to Ramesh as well as good tips. Ramesh told me something very strange, Maya. 7 added. Now, what was the something? Let us see what was the strange thing Ramesh has informed them. Almost every Sunday, he carries 2 lunches for Mr. Nath's room, and the same man is with him each time. He is tall, fair, stout, and wearing spectacles. Now, here they are explaining about a man who is regularly visiting Mr. Nath on Sunday on his lunch. Okay. So now here they have explained the man is very tall, fair, stout and wearing spectacles. He is constantly visiting every Sunday. So here now again Maya started that now we have made some progress with our enquiries. Maya is very excited that they came to know something more about Mr. Nath. Okay, we will have to sort out all the facts like expert detectives so that we can trap the crook. Here Maya is very excited to know about Mr. Nath. Now she is telling that we have to sort out all the facts like an expert detectives so that we can trap this crook. Okay, how 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 do you go on, Maya? 7 cited. How can you possibly imagine his crook? He looks so ordinary. Now here Nishad is against Maya. That how can you say, Maya, that he is like a crook? He looks very ordinary. But here again Maya is discussing with him that have you read the newspaper? In that have you seen the picture of Hyderabadi house baker in the newspaper yesterday? So he is also like an ordinary man on the street. Nishad looked doubtfully. The monsoon broke out. So here they were discussing about Mr. Nat, and suddenly what happened? Monsoon broke out. As it was the day after completing the summer vacation, the school was about to reopen. At that time, they got one unexpected holiday because of heavy rainfall. There was waterlogging everywhere, and it was traffic jam everywhere. Okay, so it was traffic everywhere. They got an unexpected holiday. I thought I spent the time usually sat uh, sat at my desk in our bedroom with a sheet of paper before me. Who said this line? Maya said this line. She wants to note down all the points about Mr. Nath. She was very excited. She sat at the desk in her bedroom and she had some sheets of paper before her and she started writing. Now what facts she is going to write? All these things we will see in our next part. Okay, next video. Till then, visit Extramark and Diksha app where you can get the whole topic. Thank you for the day. Take care.